Hey everybody, welcome around. So, Wookiee makes a heli. I was recently approached by one of the guys on Heli to help with the conversion of a flight gear helicopter for X-plane. So the helicopter that we're capturing is the one that we see here. It's the SA341 Gazelle. You're just seeing the exterior model there because that's all I've attached. The main thing that I've been doing is actually going through and creating a proper flight model for it. So if we come in here, go to invisible parts and we show parts. This is what I've got so far. So we have the main body here and the four landing skis. We have one of the small fin stabilizers, our rear stabs, and our our vertical stab and our rear rotor. What we need to do is get a few more aerodynamic parts in here. So we actually need the main rotor in there with the cowling. I need the rest of the fenestron tail that we've got there, and I need the little tail fins on those horizontal stabilizers that give it such really good forward stability. I'm very much learning X-plane and plane maker, so come and join me as we go through the journey. And if you've got any tips for me, please let me know. I'm by no means a maestro at this, and I'm certainly willing to learn if anyone's got any ideas out there. So if you want to come along, please join me in the chat, and yeah, let's get into it. So I guess the first thing that I really need to do is I need to get back into my side view, shift my view around, and I'll get my background images in there again, so I can properly try and align this under helicopters, SA341, dock, side. There we go. Alrighty, now what I have to do here is I have to zoom and move this around so that I've got it just so, and I think that's no, that's definitely out a bit. That's looking a bit more like it. Yeah. Alrighty, so what I'm going to try and do tonight, I'll probably only stream for an hour or so, but I might try and tidy up some of the polygons in here, as well as making this main rotor area and the engine cowling that we've got going on here. Got 2 bits of engine cowling. And I've seen some other helicopters actually use engine housing for this area here as well. Another thing that I can do to assist is if I take that off and actually put the 3D model in there so that we can see how that operates. But it's always good to start with the background image. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so if we go into standard engine pylons, no, that's not what I want. I want fuselage miscellaneous bottling engine nacelles. Right, so the body has this engine nacelle, and this is a really important thing to set first of all, is the number of stations, number of sides in the radius, and the body radius there. Now I'm probably going to have to guess here a little bit as to what those dimensions should be. So I've got a couple of documents here. So if I swap over here to the left screen and bring this back up, this is the documentation that we've got for the Gazelle. I don't think they actually have a lot in the way of dimensions for the engine housing. So that's what I'm just looking for. I'm just going to one of the sections that I know that has limitations, normal procedures. Oh, these are the auxiliary additions. I think it must be back here. I think it's actually in section 2 where they... No, section 2 is normal procedures. Must be section 3. No, that's the landing procedures, and that's the emergency procedures. So section 4. Correspondence diagram, no. These are all the diagrams. So after all of the supplements, because I'm sure there was a, I did go through this previously. Oh, there we go. This is what where we're talking about the actual dimensions there. Now, if I have a look at this, this is saying that it's 0.9 of a meter for this area here. So if we're saying that the height of that is roughly 0.9, if we have a look at that, this is probably about half that height. So I'm going to go with 450 mil. Alright, so if we go to Google and we do a quick Google, we convert 450 millimeters to feet, because everything in X-Plane is based in feet, so that's 1.4763 feet body radius. So we actually need half of that, so it's going to be 0.735. So if we go 7.4 as our body radius. Number of stations. Well, for this engine cowling, I'm going to be tackling it in a couple of sections there. So I might try this main housing here first, and I reckon I'll probably need 1, 2, 3, 4. So probably going to need about 8 stations, to be honest. All right, so let's go for 8 stations. And this is how far behind the reference point. Okay, so the reference point, when you're creating an aircraft in X-Plane, let's just go to the fuselage. What I when you create the fuselage, you have to move it to a point in your diagram there, and you could either start here as being your reference point and add all of your stations, which are the intermediate parts. So if I go to wireframe mode here by pressing space, these lines here define the different stations. So you could start as the front being your main point and work backwards, or work backward and go forward. Watching a couple of videos, I decided to start with my reference point being in the middle, and then so this point is at the frontmost, and this point is at the backmost. So the reference point, and you have to remember where you make your reference point, because throughout the creation you're actually going to need to know what that was, because all of this is the distance from the reference point. Alright, so if I go 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4. This is in feet, so this is 5 feet, 6 feet, and 7 feet after the reference point. Now this is all collapsed into a single point here. What am I missing? Alright, that's the lateral. This is the vertical. I'm missing something here. What am I missing? Why haven't I? Why is that fully collapsed and I don't? Here we go. Okay, so we can get back to 0.74 of a foot. Sorry, I'll swap that back to the main screen here. And I should get my chat back just in case someone else is watching. Thanks to whoever's watching. Welcome along. Alrighty, so I can get some of these points starting to come out now. And I've set 5 reference points there, so I might actually go for a different radio. And if I hit ellipse, that will actually try and make it a nice round, and I can then use this button to copy this set into the next set, and vice versa. So if we do that for most of them there, when we have a look at the top and bottom, that's what we've got our fuselage looking like. So if we come back here, there we go. That's what we've designed there with our fuselage, and that's not really looking like what we need it to be. It really does need to be rotated 90 degrees, and we need to have that sitting up a bit higher. So let's go back into the engine nacelle, and the heading offset, I believe, is, sorry, the pitch offset is what we want there. So 90 degrees. Okay, and so there we go. So we're actually seeing it rotated around the right way now. Now, if we have a look at the 3D objects, we'll bring this back in. I'm going to rotate this around a little bit. What you may or may not not be able to see is that it's actually got the intake in here. So we need to try and model that intake with what we're doing there as well. Oh, I forgot to lock the zoom. Alright, so let's get that back into the side view, and we'll get that back into position. Just needs to be a bit. Alright, that looks. There we go. Okay, so that looks right. Make sure that you lock your zoom, otherwise you'll have to do that again yourself. Okay, so I'm going to move that down there. So this is I believe either my center of balance or my reference point. I'm not 100%, but ultimately I want to move this down and I want to move it over to the right there. So yeah, let's go and have a look at that. All right, so our engine nacelle. Now I set this as 0. So is this how far behind the reference points? Yeah, the reference point, yeah. Yeah, so this is meant to be the lateral. This is meant to be, sorry, this is meant to be the longitudinal. This is meant to be the lateral. And this is meant to be the vertical. So how far above, how far to the side, and how far behind. So what I might do is I'm going to move the front point down as much as I can there. Alright, so this is actually our front point, so yeah, that's at 0, so it appears that, yeah, this is my reference point here. So that's been rotated 90 degrees. It's actually not behaving the way that I thought it would, because if I set a pitch radius there of 0 degrees, that's just pointing up and down. I am doing an engine nacelle, so I wonder if that is actually, so if I go to my engine specs and I go to my location, all I get here is the location of my main rotor. That's the prop engine specs. The critical altitude doesn't really matter for a helicopter, I'm led to believe. These are all actual engine specifications. I do have the prop geometry there, which I've got to learn how to do on another evening. Spool and boost up is to do with the actual starting transmission, obviously the gear transmission, and the location. That location is only the location of our propellers and our tail rotor. So we've got our main rotor here and we've got our tail rotor. Now some of these stats in here aren't entirely accurate because I'm still trying to find the right information for that, but this information is all accurate there as far as I know. so it's not that. Alright, is there anything under weight and balance? Weight and balance is our center of gravity, and that's really going to be where our CG is. So when we're in here, we can see different balls in here, and these are our center of gravities. So yeah, I believe that that is meant to be our center of gravity, but just curious that. Alright, well, the other thing to do, if we go to our engine nacelle and we set that to 6, we're going to have one that is blunt. Alright, so the one that is blunt is the one that is farthest. Okay, so engine nacelles, let's do minus 90 degrees. Okay, so that's going to pop it up that way, and that will actually make a lot more sense because yeah, that's where that'll be my 0 point. So if that is 1, then that one is 2, so I want 1 point. No, 2 is probably actually about right for that ridge, because we can see that it actually makes a little bit of a ridge there. If we go in, we can see that it makes a ridge there and comes down. So that's what we want to do there as well with that engine nacelle. And then how it bends down here and then goes in short ways. So we want to do the same thing in here. So let's try that. So I'm going to say that we want to go 1 foot behind, and then maybe a foot and a quarter behind, and then a foot behind for that one. So if I go engine nacelles, this is my final. That's my final point. So I actually want that at a foot behind. Then I'll have this one at a foot and quarter, and I might try and shrink this a little bit. This is all going to be rather rough at this point. I'm just trying to get some rough shapes in the general vicinity. I can even that out once I've got it into a rough shape by just hitting ellipse, and that will make it a little bit rounder there. Very handy. And then I'm going to copy that because I actually want another one in there. I'm going to copy that way because essentially I've got a single point, and then I'm expanding to a flat circle, and then from that flat circle I'm making a cylinder, and then from that cylinder I'm going to come out a little bit more. So if I go down to 1, I can go up here to 5, and I can make this a bit larger. This will start to give me the general shape of what I want there. So if I have a look in there we go. So there's our shape starting to come into design there, and I still need to move that down. I'll probably need to move that down foot. So I think I was bang on there with being a foot for that engine nacelle, but I think it needs to be a foot and a half forward, because a foot and a quarter doesn't seem to be quite enough. So if we go back into engine nacelle, and if we go 50 for that and 50 for that, and I wanted to move the vertical offset down, so we'll come down a foot. Okay, probably needs to come down another foot. So back into engine nacelles, down another foot. Unfortunately, with this, it's quite hard to get an idea of what you're doing. Unlike the, yeah, that's pretty close. Unlike when we're actually doing the fuselage, we don't actually get to see the rest of the objects. Okay, so I can move that up maybe a quarter of a foot. So engine nacelle. So I want to bring that. Let's go half a foot and see what that does. No, definitely. I should have stuck with my gut and gone for a quarter of a foot. So we'll go for 7, 5. Okay. So there we go. Yeah, that looks to be about right, and it's roughly where I want it to be. What I might try and do now is, so that was 1 foot, that was 0, 1 foot, 2 foot. So let's say that we want that at 2 feet. So let's go for our engine nacelles, and let's go 1.5 and then 2 feet, and then I want to shrink this down a bit. Oh, and if you double click on any of these widgets in here, that will actually lock it from being updated when you hit the ellipse button. So if I just hit ellipse, that will round that, and then I can copy that back into there, and I can move this point down. So I wanted that at 2, and then I want to pull that back to, what did I say here? It was half, so 1.5, and then this will be 1.5 as well. So there we go. So we've got our two engine nacelles starting to come into shape there. Okay. I'm going to try now and try and shape them a bit more with the. I can load a left background there, and I'll go my side 600, which is what I used. Yeah, okay, that's not really going to help me at all, unfortunately. Alright, I think I need to move all of these points down. There were some of the biggest ones there, so that is my side view. This is actually really quite difficult to get just right. I believe I also want these points to come down a lot more, and I think overall got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I wonder if I need more points. Don't know. Oh, we just do what we can with what we've got here. And this is all learning, so it's all about finding out what these things do and how it all works. Alrighty, so we can see that that's actually come down a bit. So I'm wondering maybe I'll move it down. So engine nacelles. Because I think with this body radius, this actually determines the space that these areas embody. So if I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, because I need to take into account that it's basically like that area there. That's really the width that I should be looking at there, and I'm really thinking I probably need to double that. So I might need to come back in here to my engine nacelles, and maybe I do go 1, 4, 3 and pop it in there. And you see how these have shrunk down, so I've got a lot more spacing in there to control my geometry. It's still not really helping me there. Reset this action to vertical. Alright, so now I've got that bigger area. I can move these points. Now this is the back area, which is good because that's kind of what we want to dig into here. And these front points I'm going to bring down about halfway. It's going to have the same basic structure out there. Trying to get more of a curve on that edge. It might be that I need to bring this point up so that this edge is flat, but then it curves up into here. I think that's more the idea there with the original surface. So if I bring that up there, I think, yeah, there we go. So we've got more of a flat, rounded edge there coming down here into a taper. So if I move these points accordingly into that shape. Takes a little while to get used to figuring things out in wireframe, but once you do, it's pretty easy to see the shape within the lines. And there we go. So we can see that there's my lines coming down, and I can align them here. No. Undo that. I want that to stay there. Alright, let's have a look at how that's looking. Yep, that's pretty much exactly what I wanted. I reckon I can move this out a quarter or an eighth. Geez, these imperial measurements are really doing my head in. Being an Australian, we use the metric system, which, funnily enough, America is a signatory to, and the imperial system that the Americans used is actually based on a metric-based measurement. So the definition of a foot or an inch actually comes back to a number of metric units. Quite interesting. is still quite hot. Hey, Jerry. Thanks for joining me, man. Yes, America. I thought that was quite funny. That was on I think it was an episode of Tested or Smarter Every Day, where they were actually visiting the storage for one of the metric units. All right, so coming back to our fuselage here, I wanted to move this point out. So I've got to remember that this is not my last point there, because I've actually got that intake coming back in. So it's this point here, and I wanted to move it forward 1, 2, 5. Alrighty, there we go. So that's moved forward to around about our where we want it there. What I might do though is I might move all of those points down a little bit. I've got to move. Oh no, I'll leave that intake there. Or no, I'll move the intake forward as well. All right, so engine nacelles. So Jerry, if you're just joining me, I'm actually helping to convert a SA 341 Gazelle that was made for flight gear to X-plane. And so I thought, well, let's jump in the deep end. Hey, Emelina too. Oh, no, this is going to be a while. So tune in each week. I'll certainly be doing more as we go through. All right, so that was 2.15, and I'm going to set that to 125 as well. So that moves that forward. I was going to move all of those points down as well, but I'm actually fairly happy with that. I don't know if I want to do... Sometimes it's good just to let sleeping dogs lie, as my dad used to say. And if we have a look at the top view there, actually that's... Oh, I can't... It's such a pain that I can't do... Oh, Beamer! How you going, mate? Such a pain that I can't actually edit these directly, and I think I'm gonna struggle with that, to be honest, because it was quite easy with the fuselage. What I was able to do is come into here. I was able to adjust this to the right spacing, and then you go lock zoom, and then your background actually zooms with the item, so you can zoom right in, and it'll actually scale the background image with it, so you can move these points a lot more easily and a lot more readily, whereas with the I guess I just need to size it appropriately with the engine nacelles. It looks like we can do that, but maybe I just need to zoom in on that a little bit more. Yeah, all right, let's do that. Let's open up the GIMP. If you haven't used the GIMP, GIMP is a great freeware image manipulation tool. Because I'm cheap, I can't afford to pay for Photoshop. Alright, so let's go ahead and open our side view. No, I don't want our side view, I want our top view. Well, probably should do the top view as well. Anyway, let's get the top view first of all. And there we go, there's our top view. And you can see here, this is the area that we want. Now, when you're doing your sizing, it's important that the dimensions kept the same. So you see here it's 2482 by 600, and this is 2485 by 826, so it's the horizontal there that we're really looking for. So if I'm going to do this, I want to crop down to a specific area. So let's actually take that whole thing, and we might, no, I'm going to cut that one out because that can be handled separately. I just want to do this first one. I will need to do a second engine nacelle for that one as well. But I don't know, I may end up having to do that as a single nacelle. Alright. Yeah, Jerry, I had to download it again recently once I started getting back into actually creating some stuff. So let's see here. Yeah, let's go with that size, and we will crop to selection. And so that's 360. Alrighty, so let's export as, and I want to go top 360, top engine NAC 1 360. Alrighty, we'll save that. Okay, and then I pretty much want to do the same in here. One thing that you can do is you can actually set the size of your selection box. So I'm going to go 360 in here so that I can move that around to the area that I want, which is that, and I can now go crop to selection, and I can export that under a similar so rather than top, this is going to be side engine NAC 1 360. We'll export that, come back to explain, and let's see if we can't rescan that. Unfortunately it puts me all the way back, so I've got to go back to aircraft, helicopters, SA341 dock, side engine nacelle. Yeah, look at that. Alright, so I want to take off the lock. So if I lock that zoom, yeah, I'm thinking that that's too high. Alrighty, so let's get in here and we'll pull it down. So let's go back in there and we'll crop to selection and we'll export it. Slide that again and open that up. There we go, that's a bit better. So what I'm trying to do now is move that into position. So that, I think, ooh, that's looking good. Whoop. I think that's about right. So if I lock that now and I come out of here and I go back into my side view, alright, so in my proper view here, that leading edge is below and that one is just about right. So if I come back here to my engine nacelles, Oh, I didn't have it too far off. Whoop. Undo that. Undo, 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 undo. You're gonna be a pain. Alright. What's going on here? Why is that all over the place? Alright. 1.43, but I can't manipulate anything here now. Wonder what's going on with that. That's not going to do me any favours at all. Now the other thing is, what happened to my... Oh, they got squished up. So I've got to pull them down again. Huh. Alright, well, that's at the front there. We want that. And about halfway. Interesting. There we go. Okay, alright, let's get on with it. Let's build this out. Now what I want to try and do here is try and make some... The closer that I can get these reference topology to be like the 3D topology, the closer we're actually going to get with... Alright, let's load that top. There we go. Alright, yeah, so she's off quite a bit. So we need to adjust the lateral offset. So I might do two sections at it's not letting me set any lateral. There we go. Reset editing offset. Okay. Can I? No, it still won't let me set any lateral. Well, it's got it back where I want it now. So I guess I just need to move it back. I would have thought this vertical offset point would be the same. Alright, well, looks like I need to reduce that all by a foot and increase that by a foot. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but alright. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm getting really confused here. Blind leading the blind, hey? Oh, lordy, come on. Back in your box. Okay, that's really frustrating. Alright. I don't want to lock the zoom. I wonder if that's what I should be doing. I should be having... this as flush to the leading edge there. Alright, let's try that. Let's try that. So it's going to reduce this down to 325, so yeah. Crop to selection. Yeah, no, that's about right. Crop to selection, and we will export. Yeah. And that is now 325. And our other one should be here. Selection. So let's clear those bitmaps. Side, open bitmap. Okay. I think the big takeaway here is that this is quite a bit more rounded than what I thought it was. Alright, I think I'll sort them out shortly, but what I want to do, I want to add another, maybe 1, 2, yeah, maybe another 2 sections in there. So I want to get 1, 2, so we've added 2 more sections. Maybe there and there. Yeah, because I've only got one engine, I'm only going to get one engine nacelle. So I probably am going to have to do this all as one thing. Alright, well, let's just suck it and see, as they say. Alright, let's expand that out. Because I'm trying to get this overall shape here. And this shape should actually be inwards of that one a little bit more, so we can see that that's our furthest edge, and then we've got our our inward edge. So we're just trying to make something smooth here. I reckon I probably should put another one there. So let's go for another one in here, and that will be right about there. Yeah, it's about right now. Because we're going to shrink that in a bit. Not terribly so, but we want to start to get that rounded fuselage. Yeah, that's looking good there now. I'm liking the shape of that barrel there. Alrighty, so that's our that's roughly our barrel shape that we want there, and we can have a look in our front and back views. Alright, so this is looking from the back there. I want to pull these out so that they're more in line. I want to get a constant shape around there, and that looks a bit better. Don't want to cut in too much, but I think we do actually in here want to have, oh no, that's my final, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Alright, so I want that down there. Not the most exciting stuff to watch, I'm sure. It's a bit like watching paint dry for most of you, and I don't really have any music going on in the background either, so hopefully it's of some interest somehow. Definitely got more of the shape there that I want to see, but I think some parts I've actually lost. Oh, that's because I didn't lock the zoom. I changed my zoom, didn't I? Yeah. So my sections here. So that should actually be 2, 0. So that's receded. Yep. There we go. Makes more sense. Okay. Why do I have to do this again? I've got no idea. I thought I had it all sorted, but no, apparently not. So anyway, it's just more learning. Learning, always learning. If we're not learning, then I guess we're not living, are we? Right, now with this I'm thinking that I'm definitely going to have to be at a I'm going to have to extend that out. Try and get that rise there. So what I'm trying to get there is that just rise and then how it tapers off there. So all of these should be roughly in the same position, because this is appears to be, well, you know, you might want to have a little bit of an edge to it, I guess. So I try to get some of these lines looking nice and straight. Obviously helps with my OCD. Don't know if it helps with the flight model at all. It makes me feel better. Alright. Alright. I think I'm happy with that. Yeah. I think I'm happy with that. That's cool. Alright, well let's try with that at least. So if I save that, can I now actually get that into X-Plane? Let's see how we're going. What are we going to load up? We'll go to New Zealand. Go to my favourite at the moment, Winnipeg military, just outside of Auckland. Alright, Jerry, is there a lot of static on the mic at all? Or is it sounding okay? Alright, I'm just waiting for X-Plane to load in now. And obviously this is going to tell me whether or not I've got any issues with the model, with the dynamics. I think I really need to get that 32 gig of RAM update. We'll see how we go. Alright, so we're going to start a new flight and we're going to go for the 341. Now I want to make sure that I get the right one. That's the old one. This is the one that we're doing. Aerospatiale Gazelle. And I want to do NZWP. Winnipeg. Probably murdering the pronunciation on that for all of my Kiwi friends. My apologies. Well, so far so good, but probably hasn't got to the scenery loading component yet. This of course is some nice free scenery from the org. Really love the X-Plane community. Okay, so just waiting for that. Oh, that's not good. Alright, hang on, let me resize my sample there. be able to see that a lot better now. Still coming to grips with open broadcast, so still figuring out all the different scenes and how to swap in between things and everything set up nicely. There we go. Looks like I need to what's going on here? There we go. Alright, so that's looking good. That's what I want to see. I want to see that. So I've got the rough shape and I've got that in the rough place. And that's all I care about at the moment. I'll fine tune it later. I just want to make sure that I've got things in the right areas and that you know, we're getting about this the right way, and we're doing okay so far. We're not doing too bad. I definitely need to adjust the COG, center of gravity, there, because we should not be that far back. And that's interesting too. Huh. I'm guessing that the rotors from X-Plane are not in the right way, and I probably haven't got that that tail rotor rotating as efficiently. Yeah, Jerry, that's the that's the brand new airbags that they've got. I've actually just got it showing the X-Plane parts in there, as well as the modelled items, because the modelled items, I don't know if you know or not, but the modelled items have zero impact on the aerodynamic calculation. It's these grey bits that we were setting up here. That's really where it does the business, and I'm really happy with that. It's looking really good. I don't want to be inside. We haven't set up the cockpit yet. Yeah, look at that. That's terrible. Alrighty. So, what is it going to look like when it's actually done? Okay. Well, this is what was done before, and this is with all of the objects in there. This is the direct conversion. Now this is using the Airbus H145 flight dynamics, so it whilst it looks okay, the flight dynamics are completely off. So you can see that she's actually quite well made. You know, she's going to look like a really nice whirly bird. We've got some nice glass effects there, separate glass objects that have been modelled and set up. We do have a pilot there, but he needs to be adjusted. And actually, this 3D model is around about 12 to 13% too large for the actual size. So what I have to do is I actually have to resize those objects and re-export them and then use them with the correct model. So I think that's why we find that old mate pilot here, his hands are in the wrong position, because I think that the pilot model is about right, but everything else is around about 12% too large. Everything's pretty basic in here, but you know, let's do one thing at a time, and we can slowly improve on things as we go. We want to get all of these things working, all of these switches and dials working in here as much as I can. We've got some basic things up here, but I'm not too worried about that. We'll make sure that we get these 3D lights working correctly. We'll make sure that all of this is interaction and VR compatible. But we've got a long way to go. Alright, so let's pause that. That's enough messing around. Let's get back to where the real work is happening. Okay, so I'm quite happy with this main part. Now I need to add more stations to do the rest of this, but in order to do that properly, I'm going to have to resize these again. So let's undo that. I'll try and get back to here, and let's resize that so that is sitting flush. Alright, and then we'll extend it the length there, and we'll bring it down to the overall height. Alright, so that's going to be image crop to selection. So we're looking at a top of 569 there. So let's get this back. We'll get that back in. Now, reading through the Rotorcraft flight manual, the way that they've got the blades stopped here is actually incorrect. You're meant to have one blade facing forward rather than facing aft, as they have here. So that was 569, so if I go 569, and we'll crop that image, crop to content, new crop to selection, silly boy. Okay, and we will export that. We can come back here and go to our engine nacelles. Alrighty, now let's see here. Let's clear these. And we'll unlock the zoom. We'll load the side bitmap. Oh, did I not export that? Oops. Export. There we go. Alright, get back to plane maker. Clear, load. There we go. Didn't do too bad a job on that, eyeballing it. Not too bad at all. Pretty happy with that. It's really quite curious why it moves the whole thing up there. I would have thought that moving that view would do that. Alright, I guess I've just got to do one thing at a time. So let's lock that zoom. And I guess what I need to do now is extend these out here. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I need a total of 10 more. Oh geez, I wonder how many stations I can have now. I'm gonna have to maybe expand that again so that the overall area that it's taking up. So we'll undo the lock and there we go. Get that back into position. Okay, so we'll lock the zoom and we'll load the background for the top. That's definitely not right. Alright, we might have to go without that. Alright, looking at the time, I've got about another 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes that I've got left on this, so let's smash this out. How many? 20, maximum of 20. Alright. So I want to put that out to 0.500, and that can go to 3, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, 8. Now that's obviously not the full sizes that we need, but that'll just put them out that way. So what I want there, so it's 8, 7.5, 7, 6, 5 3/4 is what we really want. So 5, 7, 5. 575. So this one I am going to want maybe at 5. Maybe this one at 5 as well. And then this one 575. This one 575 because this one's going to be bigger. So ellipse that. Alright. So we've got this sort of arrangement going on, which is actually pretty damn close. Well, it's rough anyway. Okay. Best way to do this. So I want to move this set. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the 9th set I want to move forward. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this 9th set here, let's move that forward to 7, 5. Got to move that back to 7 or 6 maybe. Maybe maybe 6.5. 6.5 looks around about right. So what I'm trying to do, I'm just trying to align these roughly with the vertical placement that I want there. So 6.5, and that's too far forward. So I'm probably going to want that at 2.8. Is it about right? Yeah, 2.85. 2.85. Yep, that's about right. And then this one was at 4, so maybe I want that at 3.5. Yeah, so if we go 3.5. Oh, look at that, 3.5 bang on. Fantastic, BJ. Alright. Then I want probably at 4. So 3.5 and then at 4. And then at 4.5. Is that right? No, we could go all the way. So 4 through to around about there. So 5.7. Might get rid of that one. 4. So if I go 5, 5. Yeah, that's about right, so I can get rid of that one as well. Oh no, I'll just move it forward. Alright, so this we need to move back to 5. Points, yeah, so collapse that and then put that to there. 7500. Yeah, pretty much bang on. I actually want to pull this back to maybe 4.5 because it is a large outflow. Probably even 4. 400. Alright. Yeah, okay, cool, let's do that. And then with this one, I want to pull everything in a bit, not a terrible amount, but a bit. And then if we copy that along there. Okay. That looks interesting. Alright, so let's clear that and let's load that top background. So if we open the bookmark and let's unlock the zoom. Alright, so let's lock that zoom in now. So this is our top view, so I'll this, expand it out to our shape. Wow, that's oh no, it is a little bit rounded, but I can see there I need to bring this line here back about half a foot. So is that 5.5? Let's do 5 on that one. Yep, there we go. Alright, because it does appear to bow out there. So once again, we're just trying to follow those same lines here. That'll help to give us our shape there. That looks to be about right, so move these out appropriately. Move these out. There we go. It's looking good. So that should pretty much. Oh, I didn't do this part, but that's okay. I need to move these points all the way down. I need to move this down. Alright, so if I go back into my engine nacelle and I clear that and I load the side engine, and I unlock the zoom. Okay. Hey. Yeah. Give me 5 minutes to finish what I'm doing here. Alright. That's not one I want to move. This is where it does get a little bit tricky trying to read between the lines. That's where I guess we should move these down so that it's not quite the same. I'll just move all of this. Alright, now this really should get moved up here. And this should give us more of a through line, this one here. Alright, let's move this one up here. Alright, that's pretty damn messy. I'm wondering what I might do. That's really damn messy. Alright, I think that might do for tonight though. That's messy AF, but let's have a look at our handiwork. If we save that and we head back into the sim, and we'll load back into our Gazelle. I don't want the engines running. What is that? Okay, well that's not working. That's definitely not working, folks. It looks like the engine has been rotated 90 degrees for some reason. So, just a reminder, that's what it looks like in PlaneMaker. And that's what it's looking like in Sim for some reason. At least that's kind of looking alright. It's kind of looking like what we want it to. So, I wonder if it's because we're paused. Oh, there we go. Unpause it. We're alright. Oh, look at that. Look at that rotor droop. Definitely need to fix that. Alright, there we go though. That's not too bad. I think that will actually do quite nicely for aerodynamic purposes. That's rough AF in the back there. But once again, I'm sure we'll be able to tidy that up. Overall, pretty happy with that. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. That's not a bad effort for tonight. Starting to come together. Cool. Alright, well, with that folks, thank you very much. Thanks for joining the stream. And I will catch you all later. I don't know how often I'm going to be able to do this. Maybe every Monday night. But make sure you tune in to Bag of Bones 76 tomorrow night and Thursday nights and Saturdays and Sundays. And come and fly with us in Idaho or Papua New Guinea. We do a lot of bush flying with FSE, Flight Sim Economy. And we have a lot of fun and we mess around, especially Saturday nights. We started an Around Australia group tour. Come and join us. We'll multi-stream and we'll have a bit of fun together. So thanks Jerry, thanks for coming along, thanks Beamer, and anyone else who's watching this on VOD. I'll catch you all later.